You can have a more focused, calmer, and much stronger mind. You can wake up knowing exactly where to direct your energy, make decisions with greater confidence, and end the day feeling like you are in control of your own life. But to do that, you need to learn one thing. You don't always need to do more. Sometimes you need to eliminate what is taking up too much space inside your mind. Thoughts that lead nowhere, worries you've been carrying for days, decisions you keep putting off. Problems that are already behind you, but still have your attention. When all of this builds up, even a strong mind loses clarity. It's like trying to see through a window covered in dust. The path is still there. Your ability is still there. Your potential is still there. You just need to clear away what is keeping you from seeing it. And the Stoics understood something powerful. When you create order within yourself, you begin to respond better to everything happening around you. You think more clearly, you make better decisions, you respond more calmly, you regain your energy, and what once seemed complicated starts to become much simpler. That's exactly what we're going to do together in this video. You're going to discover 10 Stoic practices that will help you truly reset your mind, clear away the excess, regain your clarity, and redirect your energy toward what can actually transform your life. And before we begin, make a choice. Write in the comments, "Today I choose clarity." Don't write it as just another phrase. Write it as a decision, because you don't need to keep carrying everything that happens around you in your mind. You can choose what deserves your attention. You can choose what stays in your mind. And starting today, you can use your strength again to build the life you truly want to live. 1. Stop surviving. Start building prosperity. Have you ever felt like you're always running, but never getting anywhere? Money comes and goes as if it had a life of its own, and no matter how hard you try, your emotional balance always seems to be in the red. But the truth is simple. Your financial life is a reflection of your mind. If there is confusion within, there will be disorder outside. It's not about numbers, it's about awareness. You can't change your bank balance until you change the thought patterns that guide your choices. The Stoics knew this. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in the Roman Empire, said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." He understood that true wealth is not about how much you have, but how well you control your desires. Because when desire takes control, money becomes the master, and you become a servant in invisible chains. Most people don't have a financial problem, they have a focus problem. They spend to soothe what feels empty inside, buy things to fill the silence, consume to escape themselves. But everything you buy for temporary relief costs you future freedom. Think about it. Every mindless expense is like watering the soil of scarcity, and every wise choice is another brick in the foundation of independence. Changing your financial life doesn't begin in your wallet, it begins in your mind. It begins when you understand that freedom requires discipline. The Stoic practice is clear. Learn to bring order to your relationship with money, the same way you bring order to your mind. There are 4 financial principles, each represented by one of the first 4 days of the week. Monday, learn how to earn. It's the beginning, the drive, the momentum. Tuesday, learn how to spend. Consciously decide where your money goes. Wednesday, learn how to save, create room, delay immediate gratification for something greater. Thursday, learn how to invest and make your time and effort work for you. And Friday, the result is not luck. It's the consequence of having used the previous days wisely. From that point on, money stops being a burden and becomes a tool. You stop chasing it and start walking alongside it, and when that happens, even simplicity becomes valuable. Here's your practice. For the next 7 days, write down everything that comes in and everything that goes out. Not to punish yourself, but to understand yourself. Notice which expenses bring you peace and which ones bring you guilt. This simple observation is the beginning of freedom, because no one can change what they cannot see. As Benjamin Franklin said, "Whoever spends less than they earn is rich. Whoever spends more than they earn is poor, even if they live surrounded by gold." This is the truth that time cannot change. Prosperity is not a matter of luck, it's a matter of awareness. Money is simply a reflection of how well you manage yourself. Write in the comments, "Today, I choose to prosper with awareness." Because this is the decision that turns money into a tool and gives your mind direction. Abundance is not born from chance, it is born from order, and those who learn to create order within themselves begin, almost without realizing it, to build wealth on the outside. 2. Close the doors to distraction. Have you ever noticed that it is almost impossible to be in silence today? Even when your body stops, your mind keeps moving, trying to solve, predict, control. We live in a world that never stops calling for our attention. But the greatest noise is not outside, it is within. It is the thoughts that refuse to quiet down, the fears that keep coming back, the comparisons that repeat themselves. Your phone is only the visible symptom of something deeper, a mind that is afraid to stop, because stopping means feeling. The Stoics already understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "He who lives, distracted from himself, is far from everything that matters." He was not speaking only about external noise, but about internal confusion, that constant need to stay busy so you do not have to face your own emptiness. Distraction is an escape disguised as movement. We run from silence because it shows us what needs to change. We run from the present because it demands awareness. We run from ourselves because being at peace takes work. And that is why you feel tired even when you have done nothing. The mind is constantly trying to control what it cannot, solve what has not even happened yet, and avoid what only time could resolve. The exhaustion you feel is not a lack of energy, it is the result of being pulled in too many directions. Epictetus said that if you do not govern your mind, it governs you. And the modern world reinforces this all the time. It teaches you to react, not to reflect, to fill the silence, not to understand it. But there is tremendous power in doing the opposite. When you choose to stop, breathe, and not respond immediately, you take back control of your inner world. The silence you avoid is the very place where your clarity begins. It is where the excess fades away and the truth appears. Turning off distractions is not about isolating yourself from the world. It is about seeing it clearly again. It is choosing quality over quantity, presence over noise, depth over speed. Because every time you come back to yourself, the world starts making sense again. Here is your practice. Today, choose one moment in your day, just 10 minutes, and turn everything off. Your phone, music, notifications, conversations. Sit in silence and notice what happens inside you. If discomfort comes up, do not run from it. That is the sound of your mind coming home. As the poet Rumi said, "Silence is the language of God. Everything else is poor translation." This is the state that transforms your focus. It is your first exercise in mindfulness, the first step toward reclaiming what the noise has taken from you, your clarity, your energy, and your peace. 3. Master discipline. How many times have you known exactly what you needed to do, but simply didn't do it? You had the plan, the goal, the desire, but you didn't take the step. Not because you were lazy, but because your mind learned to confuse comfort with well-being. We live in a time that glorifies motivation, but discipline is what sustains transformation. Motivation is like a flash fire, intense but unstable. Discipline is the fire that keeps you warm even when your desire to keep going grows cold. The Stoics called this self-mastery. Epictetus said, "No man is free until he learns to master himself." That is the essence of freedom, not doing everything you want, but being able to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Neuroscience explains it this way: the brain seeks immediate rewards and avoids discomfort. But discipline is the bridge between instant gratification and lasting results. When you act, even when you don't feel like it, your brain learns a powerful lesson that effort can also bring satisfaction. This is how the pathways of consistency are built. Every action repeated with purpose strengthens those neural pathways. Discipline is not a punishment, it is a form of respect. Respect for your purpose, your goals, and the time life has given you. Because without discipline, time slips away like sand through your fingers, and what remains is regret. Think about it. Every time you keep a promise you made to yourself, you become stronger. Every workout you complete when your body is asking for rest, every hour you spend studying when the world is calling you toward distraction, all of it is a seed planted in the soil of consistency. And when difficulties come, that is the harvest that will sustain you. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "Do what must be done, even if it hurts, even if it seems small." Virtue lies in acting with determination, not in waiting for the perfect moment. And that is the secret. Discipline is silent, but its results speak loudly. You stop being controlled by impulse and move forward step by step until the result becomes inevitable. The turning point comes when you understand that discipline is not rigidity. It is love put into practice. It is what turns intention into progress and desire into achievement. A disciplined person does not live under rules, but with purpose. As Aristotle wrote, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. That is the essence of discipline. Repeating what is right until it becomes natural, until virtue stops feeling like effort and becomes part of who you are. That is how true strength is built, when you no longer depend on your mood, but on your decision. Make discipline your greatest ally, and your life will stop existing only in your mind and begin taking shape through concrete action. 4. Transform the way you live. You cannot build a new life with the same habits that created the old one. The human mind is like a river. If you do not change its course, it will keep flowing along the same paths it always has, even if you want to reach a different sea. Neuroscience confirms what the Stoics already understood centuries ago. Every thought you repeat strengthens a neural pathway. The more often you follow it, the more automatic it becomes. That is why changing your life is not just about willpower. It is about reprogramming the way your brain reacts, thinks, and makes choices. And that reprogramming begins when you stop living on autopilot and take control of your own mind. Seneca said, "Life is like a play. What matters is not how long it lasts, but how well it is performed." That quote is a powerful reminder. The greatest work of your life is not the setting, it is the character you choose to play every day. And if you do not consciously choose that role, your mind repeats the old one. Rebuilding the way you live is an act of awareness and presence. It means turning routine into ritual, habit into choice, and repetition into growth. It means understanding that real change does not come from time, it comes from direction. Because time does not heal anything on its own, what you do with that time is what heals. Think about this. Every decision you make is like a command telling your brain to reinforce or weaken a pathway. Every time you repeat a behavior that no longer serves you, you strengthen the past. But when you choose to act differently, even for a moment, you create space for a new future to begin taking shape. There is no new beginning without inner conflict, because the brain always prefers what is familiar, even when what is familiar hurts. That is why change is exhausting, but that is also why it sets you free. Stoicism teaches that growth means rebuilding yourself a little every day without waiting for ideal conditions. It means letting go of what has already served its purpose. the version of you that sabotages itself, that procrastinates, that seeks approval before taking action. Because the world does not change until you change the way you live within it. Rebuilding yourself does not mean starting from zero. It means moving forward with awareness. It means using what hurt you as raw material, what failed as a lesson, and what remains as strength. As Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." And that is exactly what this is about. It is consciously choosing what stays and what needs to go. It's learning to live without repeating the same patterns. When you change the meaning you give to your experiences, your brain changes the way it responds to the world, and that is how the past stops controlling you. Here is your practice. Choose one area of your life and change one small habit that is keeping you stuck. It could be waking up before sunrise, taking a walk without headphones, writing down your thoughts, or simply breaking a cycle you already recognize. The size of the change does not matter, your awareness does. Every conscious action is a new connection being created within you. Write in the comments, "Today I choose to rebuild myself," because that sentence is not just symbolic. It is the first command your mind receives to begin rewriting its own story. Life always renews itself when you stop being the effect and start becoming the cause. 5. Your peace is worth more than other people's approval. Have you ever noticed how much of your life is guided by the fear of what other people will think? That fear is like an invisible chain. You can't see it, but it holds you back. It keeps you from taking action, from trying, from showing who you truly are. How many times have you put a dream on hold just because someone might judge you? How many times have you stayed silent to avoid upsetting someone, or pretended you were fine to avoid being criticized? Little by little, you start shaping yourself into what other people expect you to be, and you stop feeling at home in your own life. The strange thing is that many times, that other person doesn't even exist. It's an imaginary voice, a criticism you created in your own mind. Even so, you lower your head, you back down, you sabotage yourself, and without realizing it, you start living the life other people think you should live, not the life you were born to live. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is foolish to suffer over the opinions of those who do not even know what is good or bad." He was right. Anyone who lives seeking approval is always on their knees, even when they appear strong. On the outside, you may smile. On the inside, you're exhausted, because nothing weighs more heavily than the fear of disappointing others. And don't fool yourself. People will always have something to say. If you try something new, they'll call you crazy. If you keep to yourself, they'll say you've become distant. If you share what you've accomplished, they'll call you a show-off. And if you make a mistake, they'll laugh. In other words, no matter what you do, there will always be someone judging you. So tell me, are you really going to live your life as a prisoner of that? Other people's opinions are not a sentence. They do not define who you are or who you can become. The Stoics taught that the only opinion that truly matters is the one you hold in your own conscience. Because at the end of the day, that is what you are left with when you lay your head on the pillow. You don't have to be rebellious to be free. You just have to be true to yourself. Stop lying to yourself just to fit into places that are too small for you. Remember that project you put aside, that course you kept postponing, that idea you kept to yourself because you were afraid people would laugh? All of that is your life waiting for you to stop asking for permission to exist. Seneca said, "To be despised by those who have no worth is a compliment." And that's the point. Being criticized by certain people is proof that you are on the right path, the path of courage and authenticity. You don't need the world to understand you, you just need to stay true to yourself. Because those who live to please everyone end up hating themselves in silence, and those who have the courage to be authentic may be misunderstood, but they still have their own respect. Over the next 7 days, pay attention to how many decisions you make just to please others. Each time, ask yourself, is this what I want or what others expect from me? The answer will show you where your freedom begins. 6. Choose what enters your mind. Inside your mind, there is a door. Everything that happens passes through it. People's words, gestures, looks, criticism, and even silence. But the problem is that this door is not always under your control. Sometimes it opens to what hurts you and closes to what could teach you. It lets in what causes pain and blocks what could bring you peace. And that is exactly how distorted judgments begin. You make judgments all the time, even without realizing it. You judge people, situations, tones of voice, intentions, and every judgment, conscious or not, shapes the way you feel, act, and live. Judgment is that door. It determines what enters your mind and what stays outside. Think about an ordinary day. You wake up late, get stuck in traffic, your boss sends you a cold message, and when you get home, your partner complains that you forgot to do the dishes. None of these things are good or bad in themselves. What changes everything is what your mind allows through that door. If you let in the thought, he hates me, all she does is complain, the whole day falls apart. But if you choose to think, I can do better, maybe she's tired, everything changes. The same situation, two completely different realities, because it is not what happens that disturbs you, it is the meaning you give to it. And when that door is rusted by pride, anger, or insecurity, it opens to what destroys you and closes to what could heal you. You begin to see threats where there is care, contempt where there is uncertainty, and rejection where there is love. How many times has your day been ruined by something small? How many conversations have turned into arguments because of misunderstandings? How many times have you pushed away someone who was only trying to help you? Poor judgment is opening the wrong door. It is reacting before understanding. It is responding without thinking. And the price is high. You lose energy, trust, time, and sometimes people who love you. Epictetus said, "It is not things that disturb us, but the judgments we make about them." And Marcus Aurelius added, "If something external troubles you, the problem lies in your interpretation, and you can change that interpretation at any moment." These are not just beautiful words, they are tools. Training your judgment means learning to guard the door to your mind. The world remains the same, but what you allow inside completely changes your inner life. So here is your challenge. Over the next few days, pay attention to what you are allowing in. When something irritates you, ask yourself, does this deserve to come through my door? If the answer is no, close it. Breathe and choose a new interpretation. The mind is like a house. If you let anything come in, you will soon lose your peace. But if you learn to guard the door, everything around you changes. The atmosphere, the energy, and the way you see the world. And now, make this commitment in the comments. I choose my judgments. This phrase is more than a symbol. It is a reminder that your peace begins at the exact moment you decide what your mind will allow through that door. 7. Stop letting irritation control you. Irritation isn't bad luck, it's a lack of internal balance. When your tolerance is running low, every little thing can turn into a storm. It's not the world against you. It's you expecting the world to follow your script. Irritation builds in invisible layers: poor sleep, an overloaded schedule, rigid expectations, too many goals packed into the same day. None of these things causes an explosion on its own, but together they increase the friction. Then a small setback isn't just a setback, it's the trigger that reveals a system already pushed to its limit. Think clearly. Irritation grows in the gap between reality and rigid expectations. The more you demand absolute control, the more vulnerable you become. The more flexible you are, the more room you create within yourself. The Stoics called this self-mastery. It's not about becoming harder, it's about widening the space between what happens and what you decide to do with it. Seneca warned that anger may look like strength, but it's weakness in disguise. It gives you speed and takes away your direction. You win the argument and lose the entire day. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, when someone irritates you, remember your own flaws. That reminder brings your ego down and restores your calm. Humility is an antidote to irritation. Treat irritation like a volume knob, not an on and off switch. You don't need to turn it off, you need to turn it down, and you do that before conflict happens, by sleeping better, saying no to excess, spreading out your tasks throughout the day, accepting that some things will not be under your control. When friction arises, use these 3 P's: pause, question, and proceed. First, pause. Take 3 slow breaths. Your body settles down, your mind comes back. Second, question. Will this matter in 1 hour, in 1 day, in 1 month? If not, let it go. And finally, proceed. Respond only to what is necessary at the lowest volume possible. If your response can wait, even better. Time is an advisor that doesn't shout. Remember, irritation is a double loss. You lose your peace and your power. Whoever controls their inner state controls their actions, decisions, and energy. True self-mastery isn't about silencing someone else. It's about refusing to give away your peace to every provocation. Here is the Stoic challenge for this lesson. For the next 7 days, make 1 commitment each day to increase your tolerance, whether that means better sleep, simpler meals, or a 10-minute break without a screen. Choose to have a difficult conversation, but keep your voice as calm as possible. And postpone a decision for 24 hours when you feel your irritation reaching its peak. Write down 1 line, what irritated me versus what actually mattered. You'll realize that most of the time, it was just friction, not a priority, because peace is not the absence of problems, it's the presence of self-mastery. And when you learn to turn down the volume within, the outside world can no longer take over. 8. Take care of yourself before taking care of everyone else. From an early age, you may have been taught that thinking about yourself is selfish, that the right thing to do is to help, please others, and always be available. But there is a silent line that, once crossed, turns selflessness into exhaustion. The Stoics knew this. They taught that true strength comes from inner order. Trying to fix the world before fixing yourself is like trying to dry the floor while the faucet is still running. Without self-care, what you create is not generosity, it is exhaustion. When you give too much of yourself without balance, you begin to help with resentment, to expect recognition, to smile on the outside while feeling empty on the inside. The idea is simple. You cannot repair a roof if the foundation is cracked. You cannot be a light for anyone if your own light has gone out. And you cannot save anyone from the storm when you are still learning how to swim. Marcus Aurelius understood this. Before ruling Rome, he wrote to himself, "Master your mind and you will master the empire." This phrase reveals the essence of true power. Self-control is the starting point of all leadership, every relationship, every life that wants to make a real impact. The writer Simone de Beauvoir said, "The most effective way to change the world is to begin with ourselves." And that is exactly the point. Taking care of yourself is the first act of responsibility toward the whole. You put yourself back in order on the inside, so you do not spread chaos on the outside. So take care of what sustains you: sleep, silence, boundaries, presence. Boundaries are not walls of selfishness. They are fences that protect you. Resting is not giving up. It is restoring your strength. Saying no when necessary is, many times, the most honest yes you can give to your mental well-being. Want to inspire others? Live with integrity. Want to change the world? Start from a place of inner balance, because anyone who abandons themselves to please the world eventually becomes part of the disorder they wanted to heal. Over the next few days, notice how many times you put yourself last, and each time ask yourself, is this generosity or am I running away from myself? This simple question is the beginning of reconnecting with what keeps you standing. Write in the comments, "Today, I choose to take care of myself first." This phrase is the beginning of a new way of living, more balanced, clearer, and more real. 9. Take action. That is the best response. Overthinking is like walking in circles inside a maze you built yourself. With every turn, it feels like you are getting closer to the exit, but in reality, you are still in the same place, tired, anxious, and feeling like something is missing. You are not stuck because you lack ability, but because you are over-analyzing. The mind wants certainty before taking action, but life only gives you certainty after you start moving. The Stoics saw this as a kind of paralysis of reason, a kind of wisdom that thinks so much that it forgets to live. Seneca said that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, and that fear is what keeps so many people stuck, waiting for the ideal moment, the perfect circumstances, the right motivation. But the real world does not reward intentions, it rewards actions. Ideas do not change lives, actions do. Doubt grows in the space left by inaction. When you do not act, you create room for insecurity to multiply. Anxiety feeds on stillness. The longer you wait, the more reasons your mind invents not to begin. And thought becomes a prison, elegant, logical, but still a prison. Marcus Aurelius was direct. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, stop rehearsing your life. Take action even when you do not feel like it, even without complete clarity, because action is what creates clarity. The first step reveals the second. Movement is the antidote to confusion. Procrastination many times disguises itself as perfectionism. You convince yourself that you need to plan more, study more, prepare more. But underneath it all, there is fear. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of starting and discovering that you still do not know everything. But here is the paradox. Learning only happens in the arena. Mistakes are part of the training. Anyone who tries to avoid mistakes also avoids progress. The Stoics did not wait until they felt motivated to act. They did what needed to be done, and the feeling came afterward. And that is exactly how discipline is built, not from enthusiasm, but from conscious repetition. Action is what changes your inner state. You do not act because you feel good. You feel better because you act. So look at your own life. How many decisions are waiting for courage that will never arrive on its own? How many plans have you made, revised and postponed without realizing that doubt only begins to disappear when you take the first step? Action is the bridge between intention and results. Without it, everything you know is just dead weight. Knowledge without practice is like a sword left in its sheath. It may look powerful, but it changes nothing. Movement heals. It reorganizes the mind, dissolves fear, gives you direction. You do not need to run. You just need to start moving. One small step each day is worth more than 1,000 ideas that never leave your mind. So stop waiting for the perfect circumstances. Take action now. Send the message. Do the workout. Write the first paragraph. Organize what needs to be done. As Goethe said, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. 10. Stop worrying, trust what's ahead. Worry is a disguised attempt at control. You believe that overthinking is a way to prepare yourself, but in reality, it's just a more sophisticated way to wear yourself down. How many times have you wasted energy trying to solve something that hasn't even happened yet? You plan, calculate, anticipate different scenarios, and when something doesn't go as expected, you feel as if the universe has betrayed you. But the truth is simple. Total control is a costly illusion. The Stoics called this amor fati, love of fate. Epictetus said, "Some things are within our control, and others are not." This sounds obvious until you realize that most of what keeps you awake at night is on the wrong side of that equation. What destroys you isn't the problem, it's your resistance to accepting that it is part of your path. The anxious mind has a habit, believing that if it thinks long enough, it can avoid pain. But worry keeps your mind rehearsing futures that may never happen. The more scenarios you try to control, the more energy you give to things that do not yet exist. That's what worry is, movement without direction. Seneca warned us long ago, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And he was right. Suffering is often born from assumptions, not facts. When you try to control everything, you lose the ability to trust the process. It's like gripping a rope too tightly. You hurt yourself and still don't have control over anything. Trusting doesn't mean giving up. It means acting with awareness and letting go of what is no longer up to you. It means understanding that the world doesn't need your tension. It needs your clear presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together." This is the serenity of someone who has learned to flow without surrendering, to take part in life without becoming attached to it. Letting go of your worries isn't irresponsible, it's emotional wisdom. It's recognizing that fear doesn't prepare you, it only paralyzes you. Train trust like a quiet muscle. Start noticing when your mind tries to control the uncontrollable. Breathe before you react. Time is an antidote to anxiety. And then let go of what slips beyond your control. Not like someone giving up, but like someone who understands the rhythm of life. Trust is the opposite of tension. While control exhausts you, trust sustains you. It doesn't mean you stop taking action. It means you act without losing yourself in expectations. It means walking lightly, even when you don't know where the road will lead. As Seneca wrote, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." Trust. Not because everything is guaranteed, but because you already have what you need to handle whatever comes. A peaceful mind isn't one that controls the future. It's one that is fully present in the here and now. The Stoic house is a reminder that time passes, but timeless truths remain, waiting for us to put them into practice. If this message spoke to you today, like this video, share it, and subscribe. Your peace is our purpose.